A group of scientists working at an isolated polar station in Antarctica discovers a spaceship stuck in the ice layer. The discovery seems fantastic and arouses considerable interest, as it is the first such discovery on Earth. The polar explorers head to the place where the ship was discovered and begin to explore it, despite the frost and difficulties. However, this discovery will be the beginning of a nightmare for them. While exploring the ship, the scientists discover a frozen creature very different from anything they have ever seen. It resembles something devoid of human features, but at the same time it is clear that it is not just an ordinary animal or human. The creature has been frozen in an ice capsule, and at first glance it appears to be dead. The polar explorers decide to take it back to the station to investigate it up close, not realizing the horror this would bring. When the creature begins to be exposed to the heat at the station, it begins to regenerate and come back to life. Under the heat, it gradually melts, freeing itself from the ice. It immediately becomes apparent that this is not just a frozen corpse, but an active and dangerous life form with properties unknown on Earth. The scientists begin to panic, realizing that they may have just awakened an unimaginable threat. The reanimated creature becomes the cause of panic and fear among the scientists, as it not only demonstrates its ability to adapt, but also appears to be able to penetrate the bodies of other creatures, assimilating their genetic code and taking on their appearance. So begins a real nightmare game where no one can trust even his best friend, because any of them may already be infected and turned into this deadly form. The monster's first attacks on humans happen very quickly when it consumes one of the polar explorers and takes its form. Scientists begin to speculate that the creature can become any human it comes in contact with. This discovery fills the atmosphere of the station with fear and tension, as no one can be sure who is a real person next to him and who has already become part of the alien organism. McCready is one of the survivors and decides to conduct experiments to find out who is still human. He uses a red-hot wire to run a test on the blood of each of the expedition members. He believes that the alien's blood will react to the heat of the wire, unlike human blood. This point is key because it illustrates how scientists begin to use any means to identify the enemy. The risk of losing one's life and not knowing which of their colleagues may already be out of place causes a growing fear and distrust. McCready decides to tie everyone to a chair and put them through a screening process to identify the alien among them. The first victim of the experiment is Clark, who attacks McCready as he begins to test his blood. Clark, as it turns out, has already been infected and has become part of the alien creature. As a result, McCready is forced to kill him with a headshot to protect himself and the others. Next, they proceed to run tests on the rest of the team. One by one, everyone goes through this agonizing test. During one such test, it is revealed that Palmer, another of the polar explorers, has been infected, and he, like Clark, is now a nothing. This moment only increases the tension as the polar explorers begin to suspect that there may only be fakes around them, and very few real people left. Paranoia grips the team. Even those who have not yet been tested begin to question who is really around them. It seems that the creature could take the form of any of them, and everyone begins to look at each other with suspicion and fear. Meanwhile, the group discovers that one of the members of Blair's station has already become part of the alien creature. He built an underground cave and tried to hide from the others in order to complete work on an airplane that could be used to leave the station. However, his attempts ended in failure. When the polar explorers find this cave, they realize that Blair has already fully transformed into a monster that has consumed his body and mind. He was building an airplane to fly out and spread this alien entity beyond the station. Now the polar explorers realize that the only way to destroy the threat is to destroy the entire station to keep the alien from getting out. Soon an important event occurs, the power goes out at the station and they lose the ability to communicate with the outside world. This finally undermines their hopes for salvation. The monster begins to act more and more aggressively, destroying everyone who gets in its way. The scientists decide to blow up the station to prevent the alien creature from spreading. They prepare the explosives, but can't figure out who is human and who has already become part of the creature. While preparing the explosion, McCready encounters the monster in the form of his former colleague Harry, the station manager. Harry has already become part of the alien organism and attacks McCready. In this tense scene, McCready is forced to fight him and eventually kills him. This is an important moment, as it shows how far the transformation of humans into alien forms has gone. The station collapses, and the polar explorers decide that their only chance of salvation is to destroy the entire base. After the station explodes, only ruins remain in place. McCready and Childs are the last two survivors. But now there is no light of hope shining on their faces. They realize that they can't be sure which of them is human and which is something. Childs approaches McCready, suggesting that they try to escape from the base, but McCready is hesitant. He's not sure which one of them could be a real person and which one has already become part of the monster. Childs and McCready sit side by side, watching each other, but neither knows which of them is actually still human.